What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Masi Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomena with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Masi Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it over cuz. But niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you want to be disrespectful like that, at least respect me. Disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even be fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like, hey, man. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother already. Peanut, what's the word, my brother? What's the champ?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dude. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard it. If Sean P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over there, right?
Sutek wanna know. So this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't no his
no problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up a Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that son, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
Let's have fun. I love to tell Sutek, tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Album pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. We'll make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. You heard it right here. He ain't ducking no phase, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, but then when we get in other
hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there, nigga. Stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga around me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me? I don't be.
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother.
Word the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little right. He like,
so he like,
y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find y'all own genealogy. Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of meat. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They wouldn't be vaguely saying they from Africa, brother. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you. Bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whip in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Ay. Caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Ay. Caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Ay. Caught another apple. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Karimio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Caught an apple slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.
Appreciate everybody tuning in to the Monster Warrior Clan YouTube channel. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be, man. Like the show, share the show. Tell a friend, we're live. We're going to get into a topic that I need to address, but it's like multiple topics. It couldn't fit all in the title. So we're going to deal with the FBA ABO thing. And what I mean by that is there's two separate arguments inside of this. One, the ethnogenesis that FBAs claim, and then the second is the ABO existence of the FBA in question as it pertains to being in the Americas first. What I've learned in the last 48 hours is that these people that are claiming FBA, some of those people are saying we just want to focus on our history here in the Americas. We're not saying that we're not of African descent. We're saying we're our own established group of people here, and this is what it means. And then they're saying this is what Tariq is saying. But then if we go and we read the website has some of these talking points, and then it shifts gears and it provides other clarity. It gives insert to the Aboriginal community. It gives insert to this other indigenous black bullshit. And then it sits there and it hijacks the history of people of African descent who established the footwork for us to move forward, right? So, was there really an ethnogenesis on the date that these the FBA members actually claim to have happened? So let me run something down to you real quick. This is from the established, this is the people who created this, right? This is the field of anthropology that I'm going to give you. I'm shooting from the hip right here. Ethnogenesis challenges the idea that ethnic groups are static, proposing instead that they are dynamic, evolving, and often created through interaction with other groups. Let's walk that backwards. So if they're often created, if an ethnogenesis is often created by other groups, that means that there's an intermixture between all these different groups that would form a new group of people ethnically. Why am I saying this? Because when I was reading this one sister's post who shot at the FBAs, there's 1,000 comments on there. There were several like repeated comments that were similar to one of the particular comments that I'm referring to, where they made the claim that they are admixed with indigenous Native Americans, Mexicans, Europeans, and Africans. They are neither none of those groups because they are admixed with all of those groups. Where them people at? Where they at? It is the year 26, right? It's the year 2026. 60 years ago, what was going on in America? Was there not a civil rights movement that was transpiring? Were people were not fighting for the rights to live in the same communities as white people, attend schools, the same places as white people, drink out the same fucking water fountain as white people, and more? Was that not happening 60 plus years ago? Was segregation not a thing? It was a thing for quite some time. So what I'm saying to you is, objective perspective crazy. He said, you mean super much. But what I'm saying to you is, how could an ethnogenesis be established by an amalgamation of different people getting together and interbreeding and having these children that you seem to think are nothing else more than a new group of people? That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Segregation refutes that. What I mean by that? When you isolate black people and black people can only deal with black people, and remember, they didn't move They removed large proportions of these Native Americans into places where they wanted them to be. Right? Some straggled along in other places and did whatever, but that's none of our business. But for Black people in the Americas, we were isolated and segregated. Today we stand at 44 million. Years ago, we didn't stand at that. There was a few 100,000 that grew into that, and gradually over time. So what I'm saying to you is, we were segregated. We are an amalgamation of many different West and Central African groups. That's why only 1 to 2% of the Black American population, and I'm saying it specifically so it'll register, the Black American population, only 1 or 2% of them have Native American ancestry. So there's no amalgamation of admixture. Honey, you ain't got ancestors in Mexico. You ain't got ancestors that's indigenous to Americas. You ain't got motherfucking ancestors that's in Sweden, but you got ancestors in West and Central Africa. You're telling me that one of your great grandparents, which would be an African, hypothetically speaking, in this example, had sex with a European. The child of that child had sex with a Native American, a Native American. So that mixed child, biracial child, had sex with a Native American child, and then that child slept with a Mexican child, and then here you is, and then that continued. That continuity continued. What population of people or community do you see this in? Help me explain. But what you do see is an amalgamation of 3 distinct groups. Right? 2 of the groups enslaved the odd person out. The Africans were left to breed with other Africans. Rarely some of those Africans would mix with a Native American. Rarely some of them would mix with Europeans. Right? Europeans would mix a little bit with either group. What makes us distinctively unique from our ancestors and our continental African brethren is that our experience in the Americas evolved into what it was because of the slave trade. The Africans that were brought here first were still African here, having babies that were Africans here, that continued throughout a process. And over time, other Africans was brought here. Let me make it a little bit more clear. The introduction of the transatlantic slave trade primarily focused on South America and Central America before it was the Americas. There was no Americas involved in this. So the United States, as we know it, as the United States of America, wasn't populated with Black people in it. 1526 is the first actual occurrence of people that were from Africa stepping foot on what we call today the United States of America. Think about that. 50 states. Think about that only. United States of America. Years after that 1526 incident, right? You have the 1619 incident. But prior to that, you had voyages that were being made into America because you had European explorers that were contacting and dealing with that. They were even to the point that they had fucking Native American translators. They were trading and do business. I'm gonna open that door up in a minute. But what I'm trying to do is I'm setting the premise for what this is about to be. He said Tidewater Creoles. That's a good one, John. I ain't seen in a minute, but that's a Tidewater. That's a good one. Tidewater Creoles. Damn, that's a good one. Something to think about. Something to think about. But my point is, right? The establishment of the colonies in the Americas feature three groups of people: the Native Americans, the Africans, and the Europeans. That continuity between those three groups of classifications of people continued as other people began to flow in. There were more Europeans coming in. There were Africans that were being sent up from the Caribbeans and South America into the Americas that flowed. That's why they call it a triangular trade. Because the Africans that they already had established, they knew how to do the work that could till to the lands and build up in these colonies, were sent there specifically to do that work because they were trained. They were trained already. I'm not talking about labels of calling people slaves, and I'm not talking about indentured servitude. Those things could be argued out. And we know earlier on that the Africans that stepped foot, they were labeled as, because they didn't have a slave system or a slave economy in the 1600s, right? That would later, in the early 1600s, that would later be developed as more people began to populate the colonies. Because then you start having them creating certain bylaws and things to prevent these Africans from doing certain things and intermixing and so on and so forth. The white man wanted to keep itself pure. Its racial categorizations provide evidence for that and argue. But to my point that I was making earlier, segregation. How could a people evolve into something if segregation was our reality? Remember the 1800s. You have articles out there that are written in times they were talking about after they freed everyone or continued to fight for the free release of everyone. They were talking about miscegenation. That was a movement. Why? Because they didn't want the black people mixing with the white. They frowned upon it. And people act like they don't understand that. So how, if we're just, these three groups of people are distinctively unique to this population as it is establishing a colony and growing from that, where was the mix? If only 1 to 2% of the African American population would interbreed with Native Americans, where was the mix? 1 to 2% of our population doesn't affect us in one bit or the other. It just means humans was being humans and humans had sex. And then from that, you get the mulatto. Ethnic groups evolving. When did the Negro in America evolve? Think about that. When did the Negro in America evolve? Was our evolutionary process, I hate to use the word evolution in this sense, but as in growth, was our evolutionary process coming from slavery to freedom? Was that the ethnogenesis? Those are the same people that was enslaved. The same people that was enslaved are the same people that were free. The same people that was enslaved, were children of people who came directly from Africa or indirectly from Africa via other places that go back to Africa. We're the grandchildren. Well, how can I say this the right way? My great-grandfather's father was a slave. So my great-grandfather, when he was born, was not. It was freedom time. His children of 2 black people were born. So their grandfather was a slave. But the continuity of that blood is still the same. It ain't changed. It ain't mixed. It ain't changed. But how did I get light skin? On my grandmama's side. My grandmother's mother, which would be my great-great-grandmother, was raped by a white man. Wasn't no Native American in that. But we were told we had Indian in our family. That's the play. That story is more familiar to 44.12 million black people in America, because only 880,000 would have 1 to 2% of Native American ancestry, potentially up to 5%. Less than, I'm gonna say, let me take that back. Less than 5%. So 880,000 people had less than 5% of Native American ancestry. That's genetics. So let's start over. I did all of that. That's the introduction. Let's get on it on a platonic level and let's get to this information. Ron was in here earlier commenting before the show started. Ron has now went from a sports channel to fighting Hebrews after being a Hebrew Israelite into this realm of just being a unbiased person and arguing history, biblical shit that he was familiar with, into a new age during the pandemic person when he saw this new wave of a people, latched on to that, and now he's FBA. So now he's changed his channel to Unbiased Ron. He is on a community post right now, arguing up and down on the community post regarding some information that was posted on there. But he ain't alone. Ling Ling is on it with him. Neither one of them actually had to have read this post, because there's a courtesy to a particular person whose actual post it is. And it says courtesy of in that particular person. So I know they didn't read all of it. They just started seeing certain things and then they wanted to argue, or they saw the picture and they wanted to argue against the picture. Whatever the case may be, it is what it is. However, he said he responded to something that I had posted in his video, and he thinks that I'm going to go watch his video and respond to it, knowing that he ain't never in his life produced a source. As long as I've known him, 10 years, I've never seen him produce a source. Remember, Ron, you was in the middle of a debate about vaccines with Unc in Harlem. I'm watching the shit live, and I'm sending y'all the sources to refute the shit Robert Kennedy was saying. And you was catching them late. And you wasn't even trying to help catch some shit. You was just like the moment was too big for you. My point is you're in the middle of a debate. You're not participating in the debate, but you can feed shit to help refute the debate. Meaning, if Robert F. Kennedy makes a claim, you have the claim on, you have the claim that he made lined up, and then the source to debunk that shit ready to go. So in the middle of a goddamn debate, when Unc get up there and argue, he can turn around and he can go, okay, earlier you made this point, you made this claim where the evidence says boom, 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 boom. Refute him in real time, get him up out of there. It ain't no debate, even though we know we already won. But my point is saying all of that is you don't really be doing no research. You don't really be doing no cross-reference. You grifting. You need some money on it. You need some money on it. So we're going to get back into the whole ethnogenesis thing, but I want to start here because it was important. I mentioned things about specific dates and people and populating and the whole 9 yards, and I need to build and establish a chronology. So what we're going to do first is answer the question if Black people were really in the Americas. And we're going to do this based on 5 different accounts, right? These are in different periods. So it ain't like I'm harboring one person's account over different periods. We're going to see if we can identify who was here. Then we can expound on, and I got some other stuff that we can get into, and I can go back and forth with. I can go back and forth with Ron, but I don't respect him because he don't read. You know, he stay online too much for me. There's no book that he could refer me to. There's no scientific source that he could refer me to. The man told me that I didn't even know what I didn't even know what I was talking about. I just try to sound smart. How the fuck does someone try to sound smart, bro? If I don't know something, I have the ability to tell you that I don't know. I shut the fuck up and listen to you while you talking. And then if you say something there that I do know, then I'm going to cut you where I do know. Or if I'm listening to you well enough to know that when I hear the bullshit and I know you're in that bullshit, I'm going to challenge you on that bullshit and make you produce something. If you're scared to produce what I'm asking for, that's on you. It ain't on me. It ain't on me. If you're going to refer to something, bro, refer to it. So enough talking. Let's get to this business. So the first thing that we're going to do, Ling Ling, you ain't even in here. I know you ain't in here. You just listening in the background because you pussy. Let me drop his link. In the description of the video, there's a host of sources that will be shown during this this build today. However, we're going to take a look at some of these accounts that I need to get into. I'm going to throw one on here real quick. This is not the account. This is not the account. I just needed to do that because they seem to be out of order. Yep. All right. This one is supposed to be over here. This one's got to be this one. All right, let's do this. Let's go this way. This Columbus. Let me scroll up. Yep. It's Columbus. All right. So let me skip ahead because I don't want to confuse nobody, and I wanna focus on just the accounts. So this is Columbus's account. Okay. Presently, many inhabitants of the islands assembled. Okay, so now he's letting you know that when they pulled up, the inhabitants start to assemble. What follows is, in the actual words of the admiral in his book on the first navigation and discovery of the Indies, he says, that we might form great friendship, for I knew that they were a people who could be more easily freed and converted to our holy faith by love than by force gave to some of them red caps, glass beads to put round their necks, and many other things of little value, which gave them great pleasure, and made them so much of our friends that it was a marvel to see. They afterwards came to the ships and the boats where we were swimming and bringing us parrots, cotton threads and skins, darts, and many other things. And we exchanged them for other things that we gave them, such as glass beads and small bells. In fine, they took all and gave what they had with goodwill. It appeared to me to be a race of people very poor in everything. They go as naked. Remember, I am giving you descriptive accounts, and we're going to deal with 5 of them. I don't want to play games with no one. We're going to get to the business. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. All right, y'all should be able to see the screen real good, hopefully. All right. They go as naked as when their mothers bore them, and so do the women, although I did not see more than one young girl. All I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies and very good countenances. And now here we go. Am I describing a black person in America via Columbus? Remove your bias, close your eyes, listen to what he says. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like the hairs of a horse's tail. Imagine a horse in your house in your face and a horse's tail, the hair on the tail. They wear the hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few locks behind, which they wear long and never cut. How many black people have hair like a horse? And some of them wear it down like bangs to their eyes, their eyebrows. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of the Canarians. So now, if you need to see what a Canarian looked like, you will pull up the Canarians. But it goes on to say neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of what color they find. Some paint their faces, others the whole body. Some only round the eyes, others only the nose. They neither carry nor know anything of arms, for I showed them swords, and they took them by the blade and cut themselves through ignorance. They have no iron, their darts being wands without iron, some of them having a fish's tooth at the end, and others being pointed in various ways. They are all of fair stature and size, with good faces and well made. I saw some with marks of wounds on their bodies. I made signs to ask what it was, and they gave me to understand that people from an adjacent island came with the intention of seizing them, and that they defended themselves. This is Columbus's description. What black person you know with coarse hair? I just want to know. That's one description. Let's go to Verrazano. Many people who were seen coming to the seaside fled at our approach, but occasionally stopping, they looked back upon us with astonishment, and some were at length induced by various friendly signs to come to us. They showed the greatest delight of beholding us, wondering at our dress, countenances, and complexion. They then showed us by the signs where we could more conveniently secure our boat, and offered us some of the provisions that your majesty may know it all that we learned while on shore of their manners and customs of life. I will relate what we saw as briefly as possible. Verrazano says, they go entirely naked, as consistent with Columbus, except that about the loins there were skins of small animals like the martins fashioned by a girdle or plaited grass, to which they tie all around the body. The tails of other animals hanging down to their knees, all other parts of the body and the head are naked. Some wear garlands similar to bird feathers. The complexion of these people is black, not much different from that of the Ethiopians. Their hair is black and thick and not very long. It is worn tied back upon the head in the form of a little tail. In person, they are of good proportion, of middle stature, and a little above our own, broad across the breast, strong in the arms, and well formed in the legs and other parts of the body. The only exception of their good looks is that they have broad faces, but not all. However, we saw many that had sharp ones, with large black eyes and fixed expression. They are not very strong in body, but acute in mind, active and swift of foot, as far as we could judge by observation. In the last two particulars, they resemble the people. Listen to this. In the last two particulars, after saying what he said earlier, he says black, not much different from that of the Ethiopians. He says this. In these last two particulars, they resemble the people of the East, especially those that's the most remote. We could not learn a great many particulars of their usages of the account our short stay among them and the distance of our ship from the shore. We found not far from this people another whose mode of life we judged to be similar. The whole shore is covered with fine sand, about 15 feet thick, rising in the little hills and yada, 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 yada. He ended his description by saying, in the last two particulars, they resemble the people of the East. That is also similar to Columbus's account, but Columbus says the Canaries. When you look up who the Canaries are, it's going to say this. You're going to hear this East claim again. That's Verrazano's description. I forget who this fool is. The Voyage of Amadeus and Barlow. Here we go. A day or two after this, we fell to trading with them, exchanging some things that we had for Sharmore's buffet deer skins. When we shooed him all out of pockets of packet of merchandise, all the things that he saw, a bright tin dish must please them, which he presently took up and clapped into before his breast, and after made a hole in the brim of thereof and hung it upon the blah 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 blah. For these people maintained a deadly and terrible war, with the people of the king adjoining. We exchanged our tin dish for 20 skins, worth 20 crowns, or 20 nobles, and a copper kettle for 50 skins, worth 50 crowns. They offered us good exchange for our hatchets and axes, and the knives would have given anything for swords, but we would not depart with any. After 2 or 3 days, the king's brother came aboard the ships. He drank wine, he ate meat and our bread, and liked exceedingly thereof. And after a few days overpast, he brought his wife with him on the ship, and his daughter and 2 other 3 children. His wife was very well favored, of mean stature, and very bashful. She had on her back a low cloth of leather, with the first side next to her body, and before her a piece of the same. About her forehead she had a band of white coral, and I forgot they be the 2 lettering, and so had her husband many times. In her ears she had bracelets of peerless hanging down to her middle, whereof we delivered your worship a little bracelet, and those were the benigns of good peas. The rest of her women and the better sort had pendants of copper hanging in either ear, and some of the children of the king's brother and the noble men have 5 or 6 in either ear. He himself had upon his head a broad plate of gold or copper, for being unpolished, we knew not what metal it should be, neither would he by any means suffer us to take it off his head, but feeling it, it would bow very easily. His apparel as his wives, only the women wear their hair long on both sides, and the men but on one. They are a color yellowish, and their hair black for the most part, and yet we saw children that had very fine upborn and chestnut colored hair. After that, these women had been there. They came down from all the other parts of the great store of people, bringing with them leather, coral, divers, kins, dimes, yada, 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 yada. I'm going to go back in case you missed the description. They are of color yellowish. They don't sound copper. Yellowish. And their hair black. So now, if we look to the east, if we look at the Canaries, and we get this black hair description again, they are all describing the peoples that they saw, and they gave us indicators because 2 people before this description said, look east at the Canaries. Then this person comes out and says yellowish with the hair black. Then said they had chestnut colored hair. Some of the children. Let's continue the accounts. This was a description of the people in New Netherlands. The country have been first found or discovered by the Netherlands, and keeping in view the discovery of the same, it is the name the New Netherlands. That this country was first found of discovery by the Netherlands is evident and clear from the fact that the Indians or natives of the land, many of whom are still living, and with whom I have conversed, declare freely that before the arrival of the lowland ships, the half moon in the year 1609, they, the natives, did not know what there were any other people in the world than those who were like themselves, much less any people who differed so much in appearance from them as we did. Their men on the breast and about the mouth, were bare, and their women, like ours, hairy, going unclad and almost naked, particularly in the summer, while we are always clothed and covered. When some of them first saw our ship approaching at a distance, they did not know what to think about her, but stood in the deep and the solemn amazement, wondering whether it was a ghost or apparition coming down from heaven or from hell. Others of them supposed her to be a strange fish or sea monster. Others of them supposed her to be a strange fish or sea monsters. When they discovered men on board, they supposed them to be more like devils than human beings. Thus they differed about the ship and men. A strange report also spread about the country concerning our ship and visits, which created great astonishment and surprising amongst the Indians. These things we have frequently heard them declare, which we hold on to certain proof of the Netherlands, where the first finders, the discoverers, and possessors of the New Netherlands. There are Indians in this country who remember 100 years, and if there had been any other people here before us, they would have known something of them. And if they had not seen them themselves, they would have heard an account of them from others. There are persons who believe that the Spaniards have been there many years ago, when they found the climate too cold or their liking, again left the country, and that the maize of the Turkish corn and the beans found among the Indians were left with them by the Spaniards. This opinion or belief is improbable, and we can discover nothing of this kind from the Indians. So again, the description provided to us, their men, on the breast and about their mouth were bare. Their women, like ours, hairy, going unclad and almost naked, particularly in the summer, while we were always clothed and covered. What's up, Ramon? What's up, Keisha? The descriptions are starting to intertwine, even though the places and spaces of these descriptions are different. Remember, I started with Columbus, moved to Verrazano, then we went up into the Americas. I gave you two instances and accounts of the Americas. Now I'm going to give you a third, and I'm talking about the United States of America. Who else will be able to give this provision than one person? And I'm not going to say his name. Not anyone else. Because Pocahontas is in here. The early Virginia Indians were tall, well-built people with red or copper-colored skin and dark piercing eyes. Their hair was coarse, straight and black, but they had no beards. The women wore their hair in long braids down their backs. The men cut their hair on one side and left it alone on the other side. That's why V-Note tried to do that shit looking dumb as fuck in that video where he got his hair cut and then on the side he had that little patch of hair. That one little bitty patch of hair that he was going to try to braid and make a one braid out of it, looking like a motherfucking fool. They wore no clothing, but as in the winter wore garments made of bird feathers or animal skin. Often they would stain or tattoo their bodies with plant juices. Who is being described here? My bad, I ain't got it on the screen. What up, Turtle Gang? I meant to say that earlier. Melanated, Keenan, Timmy Turner, Infinite Minds, Hits, Rico was good, Teddy. You know what I'm saying? What up, what up? Who is being described here? In every account, there is consistency. And one of the makers of the consistency is their statue, their piercing eyes, the hair, and then they make a mark about their skin. This begins to be the problem because now you have a group of people who don't want to assemble themselves like the Orientals or the Canarians. But that's what you're going to have to do If you're going to claim to be the first peoples to populate the Americas, you're going to have to look like the Orientals. Phoenix Moon don't look like them. AP don't look like them. Or as I would say, Calvin Denzel Roberts don't look like them. A1 don't look like none of the descriptions we gave. Neither does Dane, neither does Bottom Kittens, neither does Queef Holiday, Smoke Signal, etc. Definitely not that black ass girl. What's her name? Dulcinea, etc. etc. None of the cases or instances we gave, if based on these people's descriptions, are they lining up to that? The best argument that they tried to make is that they claim to be copper-colored people. But that is not what the Europeans said that they saw. If you're using copper color as a demarcation, they also said something about the eyes of these copper-colored people and the hair of these copper-colored people that would make them distinctively unique and different from anyone claiming indigeneity of these first peoples. You ain't them. So now you're going to need genetics to prove your argument. Earlier in this shit, when I was just introducing everything, I mentioned that 1 to 2% of 44 million black people, which are people of African descent, have 1 to 2% native ancestry. Where the hell you getting that shit from? It was a whole study published on the ancestry of Europeans in America, the natives in the Americas, and the fucking Negro in the Americas. People have a problem with DNA, have a problem with lineages. You want to lineage and descent us to death when not understanding that lineage and descent is also a part of the tree of ancestry, which goes back to how genetics work. Because now when we're talking ancestry, we got to talk admixture. If we're talking ancestry and talking admixture, then we getting somewhere. But however, you can't tell me who your mama is, your mama's parents is, your mama's parents is, without building that tree. And if you're building that tree, you're doing the same thing genetically. Ramon said Dulce looked like the character Jeep from Captain Caveman cartoon back in the day. Woo! Melanated be wanting to troll at the wrong times. I gave you, I said 5 descriptions from different people at different chronological times on purpose so that they could tell you what they saw. That's not all, because I can go back and I can give more accounts and more descriptions from other people, even to the point that I could take you here. Don't worry, I gave it to you. It's in a whole nother language. It's in a German National Museum. The Germans are describing the peoples of the Americas. The fucking Germans. What drew me here to this particular book is that they give these different descriptions, and then out of all the people, they showed this black dude right here. And I'm like, what is this black dude doing? He is chained and shackled, as we can see. And they describe this man as an African. Look at that afro. Now I'm finna show you something that is unique. Oh, this book right here is a hell of a source for descriptions of early peoples depicted in certain places. But watch this. In this same book, look at here. But what's uniquely different, there are no shackles. What is uniquely different is that hair that's continuing being described. To V-Note and a few other people, all they see is the ink used and that, oh, that's a black person right there. Hey, Champy, that's a black person, Champy. You just showed us the black peoples right there. That source right there that you put on the screen just showed that the black peoples, them is my peoples. That's what I'm talking about, Champy. You showed the black peoples. Look at the black people, Champy. See, there go a nigga right there, Champy. That's a Negro right there, Champy. He's Negro. They trying to say that he African, but he ain't no different than the woman you put on the screen, Champy. That's brown. That's black. Watercolor. Watercolor paintings are the hardest descriptive points that you're going to get on anyone from this particular time. They describe this man as an African. They describe this woman as a Native American, an Indian. I give you another picture. Look at this dude. Look at his hair. Look at his hair. How many black people you see with all this shit in their face and their hair look like that? Champy, that's a nigger, Champy. That's a Negro right there, Champy. That's a Negro right there, Champy. You showing a Negro. Look at him with the feathers, with the everything. The feathers on the back. That's, yeah. Them is my peoples. Them's is the Seminoles. That's who I was trying to tell you who I descend from. Look, man. They are descriptive. They're telling you that they're Negroes, bro. Yep. Ain't that right, V-No? That's what they saying. Ain't they saying that they Negroes, V-No? The truth of the matter is these are Indians, because a Negro, you ain't never seen no straight-head Negro who hair came down to the eyes in the front and it was off to the side. Come on. And this is outdated. But yet they have this. This right here is in a museum in Germany. And they're telling you that these people are Indian, and the consistency of this his artistic expression about these people is their hair over everything. Because when I showed you the Negro, you could tell it was two uniquely different hairstyles. I just gave you accounts saying the same. Look at that straight hair. You ain't seen a straight haired Negro ever. Ever. And the ones with natural curly hair still is natural curly hair. They give a lot of descriptions. This is paintings. He's playing a game. This stuff that I'm showing you, none of the black people in America do. None of the black people on the islands, none of them are cultivated to the point that where they doing this shit that these people that you see in this book are doing. Period, point blank. Ain't none of them hair coming down. Ain't none of them wearing bangs. How many black people you see wearing bangs in the front? Dudes. And then they hair out to the side. You don't see it. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna come back to Columbus' account. And then I'm going to hit this back arrow so y'all can see something. So I gave you this source before, right? And all you did was go to read document or view reference map in PDF or how to cite, read the background, whatever the case may be. But if you want to find stuff, they have documents regarding all of this from 1000, really not really much, but from 1448 up into 1844. Now, if I click on the North American Indian portfolio, you're not going to like what you see, V-Note, AP, A1, dang, the rest of you. You're not going to like what you see. Because you have a problem with reality. And this is what I mean by doing research, like going to get these actual documents, these historical documents and their existence and reading them. Bro, do you not know how much reading was being done, bro? To extract those accounts at different time periods and then dealing with all of that. Like you're not going to do that. You can't control F your way into an argument and then try to claim that these people are this, that, or the third. You're not going to be able to control F. You're going to have to do some freaking reading. How many black people you know buffalo hunt and wear snowshoes or snowshoe dance? What about the bear dance? How many Negroes you seen start a fire and sing and dance around a campfire like the Indians do? Who, Mika, you late? Who hunts antelope? Deer. That's what I mean. Like you don't want to deal with the facts of how this shit really goes when it comes to information. This provides a historical timeline of everything that has to deal with the people whose history is being run amok by Negroes projecting to be Indians or the First Peoples or Aboriginal, Indigenous, whatever the words that they want to use to single themselves out. These are the same group of people that Tariq has left the door open for so that these motherfuckers can try to say that we've been here, we established this place, yada, 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 yada. That would never politically be introduced to a Congress and fought for the rights of a people in the Americas. If you claim to be foundational Black American and you're going to introduce an argument for reparations or otherwise to Congress, they're going to look at you and laugh. Even the Black people that are in Congress, they're going to look at you and laugh. They're not going to respect nothing that you say. If it is just merely to celebrate the African Americans' experience in the Americas, at what point does it transcend beyond a feel good? Because Black history is African history in the Americas from its earliest inception, even till this day. It is not some motherfucker claiming to be a foundational Black American that is breaking the concrete and building these momentous things or these ideas of paving the people forward. None of you are paving the people forward. You playing a game. Oh, it's lineage. Oh, it's lineage. Oh, it's lineage. If it's lineage, motherfucker, you end up in Africa. And we ain't talking thousands of years ago. We talking a few hundred. That's my point, Thomas, Oklahoma. They don't even know what you're talking about. You're speaking over their heads. You're speaking over their heads. They don't do these things because they don't know these things and they can't relate to those things because the shared experience that they have ain't even a shared experience with your people. It ain't even a shared experience with white people. It's different. Yeah, I blew up your spot. So that is the basis that calls into question, was blacks already here? It's based on the historical account from 5 different people who provide the evidence that argues against it. Now, let's go have a little fun. Let me keep my screen right here where it's at. Let me delete this other stuff. Every account that I provided to you today is in the description of the video and more. And we can get into the American Indian history timeline from 1450 forward. I'm going to come back to that. Definitely want to come back to that. And but first I'm trying to remove some stuff, so I ain't got all these tabs open. All right, let me move this here. All right, so let's deal with some stuff. Here we are. There's another post that's about to post, if it already hasn't, in a few minutes, because I got it set to post automatically. But before that post go up, 3 hours ago I put this up here. The Great Dying from 1520 to 1700. Why would I put this up here? Well, 75 to 95% of the population was killed by diseases in the early Americas. And the more people that kept coming over here and going into places where these the indigenous peoples never seen these pathogens before, they were getting these people sick and shit was happening to them. If you was already here and you said your people always been here, how did you survive the bubonic plague that took the lives of millions of indigenous peoples in North, Central, and South America? How did you survive? Right? So this is one of the posts. This is unrelated to another conversation, yet there's a comment on this post from Ling Ling. See? There go Ling Ling. Unrelated, bro. I swear motherfuckers don't be reading. He's talking about another conversation between him, me, and Ron. So let's get to that. First post. Well, let's see. What is this? I ain't even looked at this. Oh, this is an old one. Oh yeah, that's how you do your research. It's an old post, my bad. This community page be all over the place. All right, here we go. So let's go back to more recent. So a few days, y'all seen me put this, right? Put this on the screen. I don't know who in the comments. I don't have time to go into the comments. But 4 hours ago, this post went up. If we analyze FBA strictly through a genealogical and population genetic framework, the lineage purity premise collapsed quickly. There is no genealogical wall at 1865. The FBA claim assumes a clean, traceable, bounded lineage of U.S. slavery descendants. Genealogy does not work that way. And after 1865, Black Americans continued marrying people from, the Caribbean, West Africa, Latin America, Native American communities, European Americans, right? There was no legal or biological barrier sealing the population. A lineage-based ethnic boundary would require demographic isolation. That did not occur. That's why I kept saying that there is no isolation and there's a problem with their ethnogenesis. Slavery itself was transnational. Enslaved Africans brought to the United States were not exclusively American stock. They came from Senegambia, Gold Coast, the Bight of Benin, Biafra, Central Africa, Angola, Caribbean redistribution ports. Many enslaved Africans were first taken to Barbados, Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, not even excluding South America. They're re-exported in the American South. So even the foundational population was already diasporic and mixed before coming African American. And even in this sense, I would argue that the diasporic wasn't even mixed because some of them people didn't mix. However, some did. The crossbreeding population problem. For an ethnic group to be genealogically distinct, it must function as a semi-closed breeding population for many generations. African Americans did not. Consider the 20th century Great Migration, massive internal reshuffling, Caribbean migrations to New York, Boston, Florida, D.C., West African migrations after the 1965 Immigration Act. Intermarriage rates between Americans and African Americans and Caribbean Americans are high in urban areas. In genetics, African Americans already show African, European, Native American, occasionally South Asian or East Asian admixture. It is important to note that African Americans on each level show a different percentile group of admixture for what has been listed, with Native American being a 1 to 2%, these being less than 1%. This being 24% or less. What up, Barry? It says, your own ancestry, for example, African, European, Indigenous American, East and South Asian, illustrates precisely why rigid lineage definitions fall apart in practice. Genealogical dilution is inevitable. Every person has 2 parents, 4 grandparents, yada, 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 yada. By 8 to 10 generations back, roughly 17 to 1800, you have hundreds to thousands of ancestral slots. It is mathematically inevitable that Caribbean lines, Indigenous lines, free Black lines, European lines, migrant lines intersect repeatedly into Black American populations. You find yourself descend from Trinidad, Nevis, Antigua, free people of color in New York, Southern U.S. lines. That's no exception. That's normal for Black American genealogy. Foundational is a political term, not a genetic one. Who has a problem with that? Foundational is a political term, not a genetic one. From a genealogical standpoint, what FBA calls foundational is simply a subset of highly admixed diaspora populations formed under slavery and segregation. That is historical identity, not a biological and solidable ethnic group. However, if we go on the website, it's going to get a little bit more murkier than that. DNA testing undermines hard lineage claims. Autosomal DNA cannot isolate U.S. slavery descendant as a genetic category. Shows continuous gene flow between African descended populations in the Americas. Frequently reveals Caribbean matches and self-identified FBA individuals and vice versa. You remember the FBA dude we got up here talking about his granddaddy was from the islands? There is no genetic marker that represents an African American whose family was in South Carolina since 1790, a Jamaican whose ancestors was enslaved in 1790. The populations overlap heavily. So then it comes down to reparations argument, not really want to touch that. Then you got this blood quantum bullshit mentioned. Bottom line, genealogical speaking, African American identity is historically real. It is culturally distinct. It is politically meaningful. But it is not genetically sealed. It is not biologically bounded. It is not genealogically exclusive. It is a dynamic diaspora population with centuries of admixture and transnational connection. All right. You see where it says here, courtesy of, right? Then I put the link on here so you go directly to the post. And then we got the image. The genealogical fallacy of the foundational Black Americans. And then it says no genealogical wall. Slavery was transnational. Closed breeding is a myth. DNA doesn't show purity. No pure FBA genes. That's the crazy part. Is that these people are trying to isolate themselves from other Black people in America who claim to be of African descent and say, well, we ain't these people. There's no gene. There's no FBA gene. Right? So I fuck with that. Well, here we go. I cooked your last post in 2 minutes. My last post was about, go look at towards the end of my live last night that got 2K views. Why would you bring up views, Ron? Why would they bring up views, Ron? I don't care about your video from last night. You can't cook nothing. You want me to go, you said you cooked the last post in 2 minutes, bro. Look, the last post in 2 minutes was about Black people and their ancestry. I go back. Anyway, he says, I said, you cook nothing and I laugh. And then this dude, I don't know why he bringing Ben name into it, but he think he talking to Ben, but that's a whole nother story. I said, where's your source? I ain't watching no video. I do sources, and my last post provides a source, which I'm sure you took out of context. We read and comprehend over here. Then he says, this is not a source. It's a tertiary in your own emotions. See, this nigga don't know what the fuck he talking about. This is what I mean by comprehension. They don't read, bro. They do not read. Benjamin is light work. He cooked himself on his own chat GPT. That's a damn shame. He think it's chat GPT. I said, what the hell are you talking about? And then they talking amongst each other, right? They won't pop up on my live at 2:30 today. Like your whole movement, bro, is to get somebody's attention for your views. You're entrenched in, that's why I'm saying you're grifting, because there's no way that you'll make a response like this and then inside of your response, you're talking about views. It's an attention grab. Then you got Ling Ling, and he goes in, look, this is Ling Ling. Autosomal DNA does not prove tribal identity. Who made the claim in the post that I just read that says autosomal DNA autosomal DNA prove tribal identity? No one said that. What autosomal DNA prove It's who you are ethnically. Then he says, look, but it does prove continental ancestry clusters. See, he getting this shit from ChatGPT because that's where he's entering this information in, trying to get a response to me. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about the dude ain't reading. Look how he starts this. The DNA argument and indigenous continuity question, colonial racial classification. Did nothing in this goddamn post say the shit that he got right here. How does the Umasi war after, you see what I'm saying? Like, he jailbreaking ChatGPT to give him some examples so he can just post. Then it says if someone has 70% West African cluster signals crossing millions of SNPs, that's not hallucination. The debate is interpretation, not existence. So that lets you know that he went looking for something that ain't even being said in the argument. So what did I say? ChatGPT can't help you answer a damn question because you insert certain things that takes it off topic. Then he says the closed breeding myth. Argument you say African Americans were never semi-closed. That's partially wrong. From roughly 1700 to 1965 anti-miscegenation laws. Dude, it ain't. Listen, your ChatGPT saying partially wrong. We all know that anti-miscegenation laws existed. We all know that segregation was a thing. Jim Crow was a thing. These things we know. But that did not stop white men and white women from their fetishes of having sex with black people. Just because you create a law, that means the shit was happening because otherwise you wouldn't have a law. You wouldn't have segregation. You wouldn't have Jim Crow if the shit wasn't happening. I know he is. He doing it for attention, Ramon. I know what he doing over there, bro. He ain't put up a source yet. I know he ain't. I ain't even got to go on his channel. I just know his behavior, his demeanor. He's been doing it for 10 years. Then he says, but structured population genetics does not require 100% isolation. It requires restricted gene flow. Black Americans were legally segregated for generations. Even during segregation, there were children being born admixed with Europeans. Hence the mulatto. The mulatto is a reality in America. If something wasn't happening, you don't create laws. You never understood this. Then you went into ChatGPT and you took a piece of, this is why I said, you didn't deal with the post by point. You went to ChatGPT and try to put this in to find your answers because then you ChatGPT quote this specific line written by Safari, and then you put that's then ChatGPT responds oversimplified. There is an overlap, but population clusters can still exist despite overlap. Overlap has nothing to do with indistinguishable. You don't know what you're talking about. This is how I know you don't know what you're talking about. Again, you lack comprehension. You lack the literacy in DNA mathematics and population growth. This is his response. None of DNA mathematics. Nigga, you, Tehran, and I know you're listening, and I'm going to keep it real. Tehran, with all due respect, bro, I know you're an autistic child. I know that you're autistic. So I'm not even about to explain to you how stupid you be sounding when you have to respond and you don't use ChatGPT. Right? Your sister, who is your worker, who helps you, and you live with and your mom, they help you get through your day to day. And I'm proud of you for overcoming some of the handicaps that you deal with on a constant. But you are definitely lacking mentally. So it's hard to take you serious or even respond to you knowing that I know that you have genetic deficiencies. Stop trying to make yourself sound like you know something and you don't. You get taught how to do something and then you use it and then you put yourself in positions to where I see that you didn't even read something. Then run out of bullets. Bussy Booty Warrior has no idea that endogamy and exogamy is. So when I don't have no idea what this is, he's dumb trying to play smart. You're making claims with no evidence and hurling insults because you have no source, and you're trying to convince someone that they do not know what this is, this or that is. Don't play around. So Ben, Ling Ling responded to you again, Ben, because he ain't responded to me. And this is why my response is you can't read. Your transnational slavery framing is where nuances matters. You idiot. The Atlantic slave trade was transnational. Here's the demographic fact you don't emphasize on your ChatGPT AI prompt. I ain't used ChatGPT or AI prompt. Only about 5 to 6% of the total transatlantic slave trade came directly to what became the United States. What the whole? That's what I mean. He can't read. He went and asked AI some shit, and AI gave him a response. His ChatGPT gave him a response, and he still doesn't understand that it is in agreement. He says nuance where nuance matters. You're trying to expound on and add to something that you've never done before. Then here go your boy again. Let me entertain this foolishness to show that there are levels of research. One, you've never done any research in your life. So let's go. You said ethnicity is not frozen in time, sir. This pseudo researcher assumes African American identity solidified permanently in 1900. That's historically false, and this idiot is playing with y'all. This is what he says. Ethnic groups constantly redefine boundaries. Here are several examples that could have Googled, but rather he wastes time. He's inserting words in something that he's copying. So this is how I know that he was copying. Jewish identity change post 1948. How? Who are the Jews? How did the identity of the Jews change in 1948? Italian American identity changed after immigration restrictions. How? They were still Italian, now living in America. Native tribes redefined enrollment criteria. You ain't doing nothing with this. You did all of this to try to prove in ethnogenesis and argue something, and we still know who these people are. I told you, look, Afrikaner identity evolved after apartheid. Do you know why the motherfuckers are called Afrikaners? You put this with no clear understanding because there was indigenous people in the land in South Africa that have always been there. These other people, these white people who colonized the place. Let me show you what I mean. This is why I know that y'all are so quick to go to Google for something and you don't read shit. Afrikaners originated in the 17th century, developing from the 17th century Dutch dialects spoken by the settlers, mixed with languages of the indigenous over there. The Dutch roots is a Western Germanic language that branched from the Dutch vernacular of South Holland. All they did, the Dutch, which we all know, is incorporate the indigenous languages over into their Dutch shit and came up with some shit. We know who the Dutch is. So even with the Afrikaner bullshit, we know that's the Dutch. We still know who they are. They're the Dutch. Why does this matter? Afrikaners are a Southern African ethnic group descended from 17th century Dutch, French, and German settlers currently inhabiting South Africa. Notice how I said that. The Dutch, the French, and the German. They're Europeans. Then you go on. Dominican identity shifted post. All right, then it says he exposed that he doesn't know what an ethnogenesis is, and it's said ethnogenesis is dynamic. So the fact that ADOS FBA emerges later does not invalidate it. No, there's no such people or group that are FBA ADOS. There's no ethnicity tied to it. What ethnicity are ADOS and FBA? What ethnicity are they? What are they made of? Chewbacca, he's not here to answer your question. He'll probably do it in a video in a response because that's how he probably will do it for his content. So we're going to give him some shit to use for content. He probably will pause this out or skip ahead or whatever the case may be. But tell me what ethnic group are FBA ADOS? The group, the pandemic, bro. You're not a different people, bro. How did you become different than me, Ron? How is Tariq Nasheed different from Umar? They came in the game at the same time. They were spitting the same shit. Then they had a falling out split. And they're two of them on two different paths. Tariq been everything. He been a Hebrew or more. Definitely more. He's still on that more shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, indigenous, aboriginal, African. He done been all of these ethnically. But genetically, he's none of that. So what I'm asking is, if there was an ethnogenesis, right? If there was an ethnogenesis, then what is your ethnic identity? You're going to say what? Because you're African American. What is your foundation? Your ancestors. Who do you descend from? What is your lineage? Since y'all like to use lineages and ancestry, how far back do you go to say that this is where it began? It didn't begin in 2019 during a fucking pandemic when Yvette and whatever the other dude name is and Tariq are intermingling with one another, and then he hijacks the move. Tone. So when did this ethnogenesis occur? And who and what ethnic group do ADOS FBA make up? Are you saying that y'all are Native American, European American, African American, and Mexican American admixed with no genetic evidence? Then you go on to say genetic overlap does not eliminate political cultural boundaries. So it's so now you're political and cultural. So you're establishing a whole new culture.
that's full of Africanisms. Ethnicity is about shared institutional formation, shared historical trajectory, shared social boundary enforcement, not genetic isolation. So now you separated it. You see what I'm saying? When you respond like this, these are talking points to get you to weave around the actual intent and purpose of the actual question, the conversation, the situation that we're in, the dilemma, what you're pushing, your agenda. This is how I know that you love cults. You as a Hebrew Israelite, you love cults. But the mere fact that you said on your number 2, genetic overlap does not eliminate political cultural boundaries. Ethnicity is about, and you said what ethnicity is about. But what ethnicity are you? You don't share the same ethnicity as Native Americans. You don't share the same ethnicity as Mexicans. You don't share the same ethnicity as Europeans. You don't. Unless one of your parents is white. Your shared experience ain't the same as that white person because you're a mulatto. Your shared experience would never be that because you can't relate. You're racially profiled in America. You could be No, I don't want to say that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You're racially profiled in America. There's no misunderstanding of who you are in America as it pertains to. You can't walk into an all-white place and they not look at you a certain way. You can't, in a social experiment, you can't walk down the street where you live, and if it's all white people outside walking down the street, and you go up to one of them and touch them and ask them to help you get somewhere, they're gonna look at you like you fucking crazy, and they're gonna jerk their arm away from you. You couldn't do that. And to Native Americans who might just jerk away from you and then try to understand what you need help on, but they're not going to see you as the same. You can't do that with Mexicans. They're not going to see you the same. Yo, vato, what the fuck, Holmes? Who the fuck are you touching, Holmes? You're going to get some straightening. So what is your ethnicity? If you can only relate to me, bro, if you and I share the same experience, how the fuck is you any different than me? When did you become a whole new group of people? If I'm the same group of people, when did you become a whole one? You're reaching for something. So you either make this a political statement and not a cultural statement, and then I'm fine with that. Because culturally, I'm not going to let you pull from our greatness because you don't know shit about Black history. And I'm going to show you how you don't know anything about Black history here when whatever you're Googling and using to actually copy and paste here by this. You said 3, he pointed out that law classified all us as Negro. But social formations matter. Example, Caribbean migrants often retain distinct surnames. What the fuck? Bro, if you're going down the street and the police pull you over, are they calling you a Jamaican, a Barbadian, or a Haitian, and they don't know if you're Jamaican, Barbadian, or Haitian? White people ain't looking at you and then saying, "Oh, you from the islands." You would have to appear to them in a certain manner for them to even assume that you're from the islands, and they still not even gonna do that because they see you as Black. But let's continue. This is how I know you don't know shit about history. You said maintain islands associations, maintain churches, cultural networks, often emphasize natural origin, Jamaican, Barbadian, Haitian. Even our late ancestor, W.E.B. Du Bois, wrote in his about tensions between American Negro, West Indian Negroes, so even black then social differentiation exists. And then you put clown. Nigga. Who the fuck said that there was a fucking beef between people on the islands and us? When see, I think I know what this is. What up, Robert Lee? Have you ever been out of the country? Have you ever left New Jersey? I think that's where you are. You're in New Jersey, right? Have you ever left New Jersey? Meaning, have you left New Jersey and traveled to Turks and Caicos, Barbados, Jamaica? I know you've never been to Africa, so I'm asking, have you traveled to anywhere in the islands where the black people at? You know, the same ones you saying that there was tension wrote between groups of people. Negro, you got beef with a nigga down the corner from you. You got beef with a nigga on the internet that's 2-3 states from you. What the fuck is you talking about? Social differentiation? Are you serious? This ain't even a thing or a reality because there's no real tension. You got tension here in America with your own family members. What the fuck are you talking about? Then you put, my boy, administrative complexity does not invalidate identity. I guess you misspelled that. This fool said boundaries get messy, and so do all ethnic boundaries. Native tribes, blood quantum debates, enrollment disputes, Jewish identity, matrilineal, patrilineal disputes. So this is what I mean, bro. You ain't talking about nothing. You're not talking about nothing. This ain't helping you in no way. You're just saying something to sound like you're saying something, and then you're adding your my boys and other fucking flaws that you have in there when you're talking about things. You don't even know what natives debate about. You know when natives ain't debating about identity. Jews ain't debating about identity. So when you put Jewish identity, that's wrong. What Jews is in the middle of another debate with another Jew when they're arguing about who the fuck they are? The only time the two Jews have an issue is if there's a black person claiming to be a Jew, and then you got these other Jewish motherfuckers like, yo, you ain't the fucking Jews, we are. They arguing about who the real Jews is. You've never seen Jews debate, just like Native Americans among the same tribe. When you're dealing with the Cherokee, you don't see the Cherokee having an issue with other Cherokees when it's based on identity. Not the Mississippians, the Cherokees, the Chickasaw, whoever, none of the 5 civilized tribes or any of these other Indian tribes, they're not debating about their identity. The only people who have a fucking problem with identity are black people in America right now. What the fuck is you talking about? When you go to the islands and you go to Jamaica, or you go to somewhere where these black people at. The Jamaicans, they ain't fucking arguing over who Jamaican and who ain't Jamaican or who less Jamaican. The Maroons ain't going down there looking at the other Jamaicans and like, yo, like bro, we was the real business. We the real. No, they all are on that island and are Jamaicans. They're not having an identity problem. They know they come from fucking Africa. So what I'm saying is that you fluffing this shit to where you ain't gotta fluff it, bro. It don't require fluffing. Everyone knows who they are, but the Negro in America. When did you become uniquely different from the American Negro, who is a descendant of slaves who are descendants of the first Africans that populated this motherfuckers during the colonies, and it's built up of motherfucking Americas, and then came around and be what it be? Africa was at the forefront. That's the foundation, sir. Africa is the foundation. Then you say reparations. Don't even want to read it, bro. If you say, well, just base it on proof of slavery ancestry, then the question becomes proof relative to which jurisdiction? U.S. slavery, Caribbean, Brazilian. See, this is what I mean. You copied and pasted FBA talking points. You're not having a regular conversation or response to the post. It did not deal with this. It didn't. Nothing that you said in this. Ling Ling did a better job than you at trying to goddamn respond to shit. None of this shit that you posted right here had to deal with this. None of it deals with this. Genealogical fallacy of foundational Black Americans, FBA. Non-genealogical wall, 1865. None of that. Look, bro. You ain't deal with none of that. You talking about killing something. You didn't deal with none of that. You really didn't. You didn't. You said we FBA, listen to this. We FBA is attempting to define a jurisdiction-specific descendant category. This is not foreign in law. Japanese intermediate reparations require proof of intermediate, which you know nothing about. I cooked your other leader, raw son. I don't even know who this is on this point. I don't know what bro, you don't be cooking no goddamn body. You don't. You would never be able to define a jurisdiction specific to descent because the goddamn white people who wrote the laws know exactly who the fuck they enslaved and where the people came from. And they know what they did. You're not Japanese. You can't even relate to Japanese, and you can't even relate to how Japanese got reparations for what they did. But if you cook somebody on a point, I ain't saying that you're a dumbass. I just said you're stupid. I don't know that conversation. So bringing that up to me or using that as a reply in this post is irrelevant. A lot of what you're saying has no merit on the post. Then you said your death blow. This was never about genetics, purity of blood quantum. Only stupid people believe that. It was always about, can a historically formed subpopulation assert jurisdiction specific claims tied to U.S. Whoop, stop. Stop. It was always about, can a historically formed subpopulation assert jurisdiction specific claims tied to U.S. slavery and segregation? No. What subpopulation are you asserting? Are you saying that out of 44 million black people, there's a subpopulation of black people that are looking to assert jurisdiction on specific claims tied to U.S. slavery and segregation? Are you saying that life for y'all only started at slavery? What about the free blacks that roamed around here the same time of those who were indentured servants and later slaves? What about those blacks? You ain't claiming the identity of those blacks because you don't know nothing about this. What I mean, you don't know history, so you don't know nothing about them. You don't know nothing about none of the free blacks that roamed, the free black population that roamed, that actually exists, even though it was small in stature overall, but it grew over time. Way before they freed the slaves, there was free black populations in America. You ain't mentioned none of them. You don't know nothing about none of these people, their inventions, the things that they did, how they were benefiting from certain shit, how they were paying. Come on, buying freedom, all kind of, man, they was doing all kind of, you don't know that history. You don't know the involvement of the free black in America because you ain't studied the shit. You're stuck on talking points. You're worried about everyone else. So you're using the everyone else argument to frame your argument against your own people. You're having an identity crisis, and you finna sit here and try to tell me that there's a subpopulation looking to assert jurisdiction over U.S. slavery and segregation. How? Then you said, that is a political legal question and nothing about biology. How are you going to ask a question politically and assert jurisdiction over it when it is specific? It is dealing specifically with a group of people that are genetically tied to a circumstance. Bro, we don't become African American because we just came over here from Africa and people started having sex and acculturated into this particular shithole. We became African American because of the admixture and the horrifications of slavery, what we endured. That's how we became the people that we became, genetically. So to dismiss that and say, well, it's a political question, you can be as political as you want, Ron. I don't give a fuck about your politics. I don't care about your politics. But you can't try to claim to be a group of people, bro, in your political stance to muscle that way through, and it won't even see your local mayor's desk. You can't even get into the mayor's office to even spark an interest. You can't even talk to a senator from your state, from your city. You can't even get into a political field or a political argument with someone on the basis of what you're trying to argue, because they're going to sit there and look at you and say, bro, listen, the law identifies who Black Americans are. These are people of African descent. You are trying to tell us that you are not of African descent. Fuck Africans. You want to stake claim over slavery. Ron, Tariq, FBAers, listen to this very closely. The diaspora is uniquely intertwined with the people who built this fucking country. Them islanders are uniquely intertwined with building America. So they are here in the Americas and have been since their parents left the islands by force of choice and integrated into societies with us and help build. But prior to all of that, against their will, coming from Africa, they were placed in South America and Central America. Once they established that, these plantation owners start selling these people that was established as adults to these other areas in America, working these plantations and building this civilization up. Your own brother, your own FBA brother said that his great-great-grandfather was from the islands. He's, in your instance, in your derogatory term, a tether. On the other side, he said his granny was FBA. He claimed Blackfoot Cherokee bullshit. You know, Ron, better than the rest of them that was pseudo. You know, Ron, that it ain't no such thing. Yet you don't alienate that faction of the pseudo among you who misrepresent the history books. You know why? Because you don't know history. So you can't make that argument. You only want to have a conversation with someone to talk politics. That's what you want to do. That's what you're really passionate about. Outside of boxing, you're really passionate about politics. And you saw a political opportunity and jumped on it by claiming FBA. You could have did all this shit without being FBA. Just to be real. Because when I'm reading this, your reply is political. Is it? It's a political argument against someone who may be making another political argument, which ain't even the case in this instance. We're dealing with some shit that you don't deal with, history. Then you go on to say, no ethnic group on earth is genetically sealed. FBA delineation is about jurisdiction, specific historical formation under U.S. slavery and segregation. How? 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 You said no ethnic group on earth is genetically sealed. Okay, so African Americans on average, about 70+% African ancestry, 24% European ancestry, and then the rest of their percentages could be probably mixed in somewhere else of some groups that are irrelevant to the conversation. On average, okay? European Americans are ethnically distinct to European nations, and some may possess 1 to 2% of African ancestry. Remember, they call themselves pure. So them as an ethnic group outside of one that would be mixed with one of them, the mulatto ain't a part of them because the Europeans aren't sealed per se, right? They aren't sealed, but they are because they only interbreed with other white people. That's why it's 300-something million of them, but only 44 million of us, and then whatever the other Mexican population it is over there show up, and then the Native Americans show up. It's way more white people in America than it is Mexicans, than it is black people, than it is the natives. Because the continuity is there. It's not saying that it is sealed per se. It is saying specifically that we can see the ethnicities of these white people. When they do their DNA test, we see Scandinavian, we see Sweden, we see French, we see goddamn Russian, we see all that shit from Europe. When we see I'm gonna go tribal on you. I'm gonna say like a Nigerian, for instance. If we look at a Nigerian's DNA, right? It's usually with other Nigerians. So it's gonna be real high. It's gonna be like, it ain't gonna be like the Europeans. The Europeans running around effing each other. But the Nigerian is still in Nigeria. The Nigerian ain't going to goddamn Kenya, the Congo, North Africa, Egypt. That's isolated. That ain't the argument. We are an amalgamation. That's 70+% of DNA that we possess on average coming from the west and central coast of Africa is an amalgamation of those in West and Central Africa. We're the ones that can show them that we're all the same fucking people. Because all them different groups of people, them different ethnicities in West and Central Africa were brought here and had to coexist and had a shared experience, and we are the offspring of that shared experience. What's up, EIE? I don't know how to not make that make more sense to y'all motherfucking asses. Oh no. I hope I ain't ruined Lucky's show because I just looked at my phone. Lucky was supposed to been started. I'm gonna put in the chat though. Lucky probably just listening in, getting high, smoking his weed. So anyway, you said no ethnic group on earth genetically sealed. FBA delineation is about jurisdiction, specific historical formation, yada, yada, yada. Gene flow does not erase political lineage. There's no such fucking thing as political lineage. This is new, Ron. Political lineage. This is new, Ron. Everyone knows that your genes have nothing to do with your political view. That is something that you can switch and change at any time. There ain't no ties to one party or another. Who the fuck would think that there is the gene flow? Oh my goodness. And then you said an administrative complexity does not invalidate identity. What are you talking about? See, it's political. You having a discussion that's unbeknownst to anything. And that's why I just clearly said, still no source. Now you lined up. Because everything that you just said in this response 2 hours ago, edited, right? So where you copied and pasted all your shit, then went back and edited to add your emphasis on it, none of it makes motherfucking sense. Yeah, you heard it, righteous. Political lineage. I highlighted it. So that's Ron's response, and he feels very confident about his response. As he says, he beat somebody up on one thing, and then he said he ended a whole another thing. Right? So here's a new post that I told y'all that was coming around, and it posted 52 minutes ago. Yep, it came at the 3:30 mark my time. This is another post. This is intentional. Everything is calculated. Ron, I'll tell you right now why you listening on this show. I will say 1,000 things to you. Right? 1,000 things. The whole time I ain't doing nothing but collecting data. Every response you make, I ain't watching no videos. It's got to be something that I can actually hold you down to. I'm not watching no videos and then trying to make clips and capture you making claims. I'm not doing that no more. That takes too much of my time. But when you respond and you make a comment, I can screenshot it and I can hold you to what it is you say. That's what I need. Just a whole bunch of that. Drawing you out. I don't need to talk to you. Because if I get your response on a subject matter about something, I don't need to have a conversation with you. Now I can therefore, if I want to put a presentation together, or if I want to write a book about y'all, which usually always comes if I keep talking about a subject matter for so long, I have your claims documented, and I can isolate you and attack you, and it ain't shit you can do about it. So this post is up now. Identity myths versus historical truths. You better not come on this one. FBA ideology, strict lineage claims, genealogical contradictions, government fantasies, diasporial denial, pretendian pseudo-history, fake indigenous claims, archaeology ignored, erases native history, African ancestry denied. These are the things that are problems with this FBA thing, because you allow the pretendian into the FBA move. Knowledge of self requires evidence, primary records, DNA and genealogy, census data, diaspora literature, intellectual humanity. I don't see how you're going to be able to get around that, you or anyone. But you'll make an attempt. You'll make an attempt. Making your ass make that decision about some food. All right, so this was the post that I did a day ago. And I'm assuming, Ron, that this is what you're referring to about your video. Ain't nobody on here but Ling Ling. Sort by newest comments. Yeah, it's all Ling Ling. I think I'm on here one time and Ling Ling the rest. I'm on it twice. So I'm gonna show y'all how Ling Ling don't read. He said, "You're not a real person moving to Africa, at least Afro think tank in Africa. You are on the internet begging for Mike TV to acknowledge you. Who the fuck is begging for Mike TV to acknowledge them?" Real black folks in the fight. Meanwhile, the internet Indians losing, even old Mike TV and his fake tribal cards. I'm paying homage to the people that are actually doing the work, trying to get people recognized among these fools that still don't want to give them the same rights and liberties as others, and they are mixed with some of these fucking peoples and these civilized tribes. You dumb idiot. It is a population of our people who were enslaved by these people, and some of them that even add mixed with some of these people who have dual ancestry that fucking need their rights. That the same rights their parents have. Look at you. You call me a sea monkey. I'm going to blame that on your Tourette's. Hold on. So that's just dude being dude, man. At the end of the day. And look, it's them all day. All day. It's them. We got Rail from the phone in the building, though. Kapala, you know what I mean? Turtle Gang said, man, where you at? When you getting active. You feel me? Kevin Troy, you know, representing. Boy, this right here been going crazy. This mother got 20-something thousand views on Facebook, 2.4 over here. This thing here going crazy. I ain't even looked at these comments, all the comments. Y'all missed some of these. But you know, I just wanted to throw that out there for the old buddy. Just wanted to give an old buddy, you know what I mean? Let me stop doing that. The viewer, I was going shit still. But anyway, I dropped a link, man. I dropped a link. And Lucky, where the hell you at, bro? You just smoking, waiting on me to finish? I'm trying to see if Lucky going live. Hold on. So I want to say this real quick. We are back at an identity crisis. Every few years, we go through this in the community. It is now the ADO's FBA turn, and they're taking attention away from the Hebrews, the Moors, the Cometians. They're taking attention away from those groups of peoples with their pseudoisms, even the spiritualists, right? And it's not a lot of them. It's only online, and it's not like it's millions of people. It's not like a few thousand people, and they're just loud and noisy, right? Because of what they're saying, and they're trying to garner that attention. Hold on. Yeah, RBGs, 5%ers, etc. Yeah, they're just taking attention away from them with this bullshit. And as you said, Ron, he's doing it for political reasons. Well, he's saying his purpose and intent is for political reasons. Yet he's trying to grift off people of African descent, people who come from Africa. The shared experiences that Black people in America have together, the commonality of that. We don't have no shared experience we don't know what it's like to be Native Americans. We don't know what it's like to be at a powwow. You know what I'm saying? Only a portion of our people do. We don't know what those rites of passages are. When the Montgomery bus boycott went down, what Indians was with us? It was bad as some white folk. Who were with us? When we walked across the Selma Bridge, where was the Indians at? What was them? It was white folk there on the other side of that motherfucking bridge with batons ready to whoop our fucking ass. The March on Washington, the Million Man March. Who was there Cause y'all saying we a whole different group of people, bro. I'm showing you we the same motherfucking people. Where was everybody else when our ancestors was shackled on these fucking boats or having to be brought on top of board and dance around for exercise so we didn't get weak and sick? When they were intentionally slave breeding. What's going on? I'm confused. You talking about slavery and segregation? The African black people. There was no during segregation, bro. Name me the person that came from somewhere else that was black that was able to just freely walk around this bitch during segregation. What up, Asa? The historical aspect of it has to support the political prowess in order to challenge the status quo for any goddamn thing politically. Because when you're in the court of law or when you're arguing something on a political landscape, it has to be some type of evidence acquired and presented in order to get around the bullshit. You failed at history. You're trying to hijack someone else's argument, and you're trying to present it as such. I don't even know what Aboriginal Power, Dane Calloway, and I'm being respectful because I call that nigga Calvin because that's his name. Calvin Denzel Roberts is his name from Knoxville, Tennessee. That's who I know him by. Y'all know him as Aboriginal Power on the internet. I know the dude by Calvin Denzel Roberts. That's his government name. He bears the name of a white man who enslaved his ancestors. It is not a name of indigeneity. Calvin Denzel Roberts' name is not an indigenous name. And you got black folk on the other side, like the smoke signals and all the motherfucking fools that are saying these European names are indigenous to the Americas and that English is an indigenous language, and they're lying. They lying just like Ron lying about a political view. They all lying. So the dude y'all calling AP, Aboriginal Power, whatever other names this nigga been going by lately, his name is Calvin Denzel Roberts. That's what his mama named him. Now, how his black ass get the name Calvin Denzel Roberts? You got to ask his mama. We know how he got Roberts. He got Roberts from the white man. Just like Ron. Ron, you don't want me to tell people your real name, do you? You want me to tell these people your name? So you can hide all you want. You can create your YouTube channels. You do all that bullshit. I really don't give a fuck. It's none of my business. But behind and underneath all of that shit, when you log off this motherfucking computer, you're a whole nother person. You ain't the same person socially or politically when you log off this motherfucker. Me, I'm the same everywhere I go. Don't care who I offend. Keep it real. Keep it moving. Half the time, I ain't even got shit to say to motherfuckers. But in this instance, you're lying because you just came on that post and try to make it about politics. At the end of the day, all your responses about the FBA shit, you were trying to make it about politics. And Tariq Nasheed ain't even making it about politics. Do you want me to pull that book back up? Or that FBA dude we was reading the other day? Ain't none of his books talking about no politics. Then you talking about the ethnogenesis. Nigga, you ain't no new or different group of people. Fuck is you? Straight up. It is madness. So I've been not online as much, and this is what we dealing with. So this is what I mean by evidence. Like there's no evidence for the argument. It's just that they just want to say shit. So why am I wasting my time? Like I continue to keep researching, reading books, trying to understand the law of the land. I don't even care what they talking about. Just more so us. And what they're trying to do is take all these people who don't mess with these titles and labels and integrate us into some shit. Don't do that to us. We don't want no part of that shit. Go find your own history and culture. Do not leech on and try to attach yourself to ours. The Albo's been completely quiet during the month of February about Black history. I guess somebody said that Calvin Denzel Roberts did a video about Pan-Africanism. He repeating some shit that he do that every year. He do it every year. I ain't tripping on that. But there's been no real scholarship on the subject matter. Not from nobody they claim to be FBA. They claim to be indigenous to the Americas. There's no real scholarship on the subject. They're out here making up shit to argue with on YouTube for views. And it's a lot of people in the chat that been peeping it. Where Teddy at? Teddy, you still here? Probably not. But if Teddy is still in the building, he sent me a video. I click on the link. It's Smoke Signal getting beat up by some dude I don't even know. I'm like, how did you find this? He was like, they was on somebody's channel, a dude playing a replay. I'm like, I don't even know this dude. Like, where y'all be getting this from? Smoke Signal and the dude arguing over some shit. And then the definition of black comes into it. Taz. The definition of black comes into it. This nigga gonna say, he gonna ask the Taz dude, what's the definition of black? And I'm listening to the replay. I'm like, just keep it simple. The definition of black is people of African descent. So now, if that's the definition, Smoke Signal trying to say he ain't black. He trying to say he American Indian. So if Smoke Signal and Cosmon trying to claim American Indian, then my question to Smoke Signal and Cosmon, how in the fuck did y'all become slaves? How did this was Smoke Signal what's the lady that owned his name, man? Owned Smoke Signal Granny. Lucy Hawkins. And I think she was Cherokee, or was she? Yeah, she Cherokee. So how did Lucy Hawkins, a Cherokee, enslave another American Indian? Y'all ain't gonna answer? Nobody ain't got an answer for that. I'm gonna say it one more time. If Smoke Signal is an American Indian, how did Lucy Hawkins have the jurisdiction to enslave an American Indian? I don't care if she was Chickasaw, any of that. It don't even matter. She on that census, Smoke Signal Granny on that census as a slave. So how could she be an American Indian? The Europeans is running shit. So how the fuck is other American Indians enslaving other American Indians? That ain't even a byproduct of what the fuck transpired during the Trail of Tears. Or anything else. So how did Lucy Hawkins enslave an American Indian and get away with it? Because Smoke Signal's not black. He is not a person of African descent. Based on the argument they was having. Even the dude that he was arguing with, he ain't black either. Because he was like, he didn't say he was African or anything like that. He trying not to, you know, he was trying not to give in to that or play toward that. But fuck what Smoke Signal gonna say. Who cares? Like, bro, just say what it say, bro. People of African descent is what the fuck you is. Your ancestors were people of African descent, which is what you is too. That's what slaves are children of Africans. And your peoples are children of fucking slaves. And we the same people. All of us are great-grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren of people who were formerly enslaved in the Americas. And those people who were enslaved are children of Africans. So shout out to Kayla, man. She found one of her in her research through her ancestry. She found an African auntie, great aunt. Great aunt. She ain't go too far back. From Africa. 18, was it 18? Hold up. Hold up. So y'all, shout out to Kayla though, for real. Hold up. Oh, I gotta switch my page. I was wondering, like, what the hell? People mad at me because I've been going on them posts like they be talking about they this, they that. Man, you ain't this, none of that. All right, so a people name. I ain't gonna tell y'all a people name, but people were born in 1820 and they died in Mississippi, and their birthplace was Africa. She on the U.S. Census in 1860 slave schedule too. So all this shit, not a coincidence, been showing y'all, and YK the Truth been showing y'all about the slave schedules, this, that, and the third. They're born in Africa. And it's easy how she did it because everybody else can do it, but you're just going to have to do your work. See what I'm saying? So I ain't with, if you can't produce no source, bro, I ain't even with trying to have no conversation, because it's supposed to lead to a debate if that's really if it's really on your heart like that. You debate it with facts, but y'all ain't got no facts. Righteous said, are all these confused people black? I honestly think some are white and even foreigners. Yeah, they black. Unfortunately. Definitely, you know. So then there was another post I seen. Somebody said, why would Europeans go to Africa and get 300,000 black people when they already had the natives, they already had the population of people here? It's one of the stupidest questions ever because you just fucked history all the way up. The 300,000 that you're referring to is in a later period. Before that, they was already bringing people here since 1490s. But before all of that had to deal with disease and health, right? So that's why I made that, put that post up there called The Great Dying, so people could really understand and fathom like what is we talking about. I mean, we don't understand history and science no more, man. I mean, I'm looking at these comments, even on Facebook, there's comments from people that just be saying any fucking thing. It was a black dude. Let me see if I can find it. I tagged Kenny. So Kenny's saying that. So this dude said, he was talking about the old Mac heads. I'm gonna bounce around because just how my notifications is. The Negro said it's literally called the Negro head in the museum out there. He said the old Mac head that ain't called the Negro head. It's literally called a Negro head. I said, not a Negro head. How the fuck a Negro head look like a Mesoamerican with a cap on? And to be scientific, a Negro head is pseudoscience. How the fuck you determine whose head's a Negro or non-Negro? Buddy responded to me and says, hold up, it don't show his message. He deleted it. Then another dude said, bingo, that head has Negroid features. I said, what does a Negro head look like, stupid motherfucker? He said, the lips, nose says it all. Don't be mad. You come from the Negro stock. That's not describing a Negro. Are you aware of genetic features? Your lips have a gene, nose have a gene, cheeks have a gene. None of that determines if you're a Negro. Then I went down and then I got scientific with him and dropped the facts. Motherfucker ain't said nothing else since. That's one of the stupid motherfucking comments. See what I'm saying? Like, these people just be saying stuff online and they don't have no idea what it is that they're talking about. You know, where's this black dude? I think he might have deleted his comment. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find where he at. Because everybody got something to say. When I say something to they got something to say back to me, for sure. I definitely be ruffling people's feathers online. I let the white people have it. I say what I gotta say to the white people and I don't say nothing else. They can get online and say, that crazy ass shit they want to talk, and then in public they change their way. Let their ass have it. I can't find the other dude comment, so I'm under the assumption that he might have just either deleted the comment, because I know old girl, she ain't kicked me off, because she was beating up on Ados. Hold up, let me do this. Let me go to the poll. All right, so yeah. Dudes, where dude at? I put my comment on there. Ain't nobody said none of my comment. Bet not. I dare you. I'll light y'all ass up. This dude named Lawrence Wilson. He said Black Americans, Ados, FBA, Freedmen, Solon, were here at the founding of this country. Black American lineages contain DNA from Aboriginal Americans, European slave owners, or unforced kin, and Africans of various origins. You see what I mean? He said Black American lineages contains DNA from Aboriginal Americans, European slave owners, or unforced kin. How the fuck do Black American DNA contain Aboriginal American shit when I just told y'all that 1 to 2% of 44 million Black Americans contain, you know what I'm saying, less than 5% Native American DNA? So how does that? How, bro? How? And I was being nice trying to give you 880,000 and it ain't even that. So how? Then he says it's a matter of distinction and identity, not denial. Black Americans are owed reparations for the American Institute of Slavery that made America wealthy. It's not a code. It is a code. It's not a joke. It's not a psycho. Whatever. I respond to this shit, right? These niggas over there talking about this shit ain't talking about slavery or none of that other crazy shit, right? I'm like, bro, it do. I'm tagging these people. I'm letting them have it. Then there's another person. FBA isn't saying not from Africa, period. It's saying we've been here for generations. Then it go on. I'm giving all these people the business. I get where she's saying, but her delivery is off-putting. I'm Black American, but it doesn't erase the Spanish, African, Indigenous, Choctaw, and European ancestry. Bitch, she got dreads. She got dreads. She said some things that are in African culture can be found in Black American culture and in some indigenous groups. The similarities are undeniable. It's okay to have African ancestry. The world literally treats Africa as if it's beneath them. We have the things we have because of the exploitation of Africa. Again, it is okay to have African ancestry. She's saying all of that. I'm like, but you ain't Choctaw. You ain't even Spanish. You ain't showing none of this. What Spanish person, what person in Spain rocking dreads? This whole page is full of people just saying shit. And it's interesting to see because you see the Black people on there that have an identity crisis. Some of their responses is to disassociate themselves. Others' response is, well, we're not saying this, we're saying that. Yes, you are. Because you're sitting there trying to claim everything that African Americans achieved as not African, as something else, as a different. You're using FBA, Ron. Listen, Ron. They're using FBA ideology as a new ethnic group. How? How you different, bro? Up from slavery. That's a book. Up from slavery. Do we need to read that to y'all again? Do we need to look at the slave narratives and drop that on y'all fucking heads? What are we really discussing? I put the link in there a couple of times, man. I know they ain't coming. I put the link in there early. I put the link in there 2 hours, an hour, some change ago. I was gonna add Ron and let him kick his bullshit to y'all. For real. Damn, I got a whole bunch of messages. Crazy work. So I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer, man. I've been on here too long anyway. The sources in the description that I dropped also are tied to a bigger, larger body of work that would allow us to be able to look at records and formulate what these first impressions are of the peoples who populated the Americas. The institutions that have these primary accounts have made it available to us to be able to access it through a website so that we can know the truth. Not just we, the people, but everyone, the people, right? That is why some people are coming out and apologizing for their role and participation in slavery. And that is another problem within itself. But we need to know where the fuck we are from a historical perspective, a cultural perspective, and a personal perspective, because we can't keep allowing pseudoscience and these fictitious ideologies to creep into the minds of Black people and ruin the progress that has been made. We're not getting anywhere, whether on a political front or a social front. We're not winning this battle. So therefore, trying to make splinter groups and then reverse all of this shit up and make it something mean something that it ain't is crazy. We have to do a better job as a people. We have to get back to reading books and dealing with the intellectual capacity of being able to expound more. Lucky, I know I've been on for quite some time. Please do not ruin your show. I don't even know if you're trying to do this show tomorrow. You just put the wrong time on there because you be doing that crazy ass stuff too. But we need to continue the unified attack on anti-intellectualism as it is opposed to everything else. When this went down, look. Anti-Black Intellectualism Day. Aryan Nation God disrespects Black women and weak men did nothing. Again, I'm going to put Lucky Show in the description. And maybe we get the show from Lucky if I ain't fuck it up. But there go the link to his show again. If you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you go over there and subscribe. Lucky be talking Bitcoin and more. Early in the morning sometimes. He's been off a little bit, but hopefully this isn't a show that'll lead over into his morning show and that he'll get to this show tonight. I don't know when the next debate is. I don't know who's debating. I don't even keep track of that. Ramon, Teddy. Teddy said yo earlier. Teddy, Ramon, those two people will probably be more aware of Robert Lee. They might be more aware of what debates are next. I don't know. I don't know what none of these dudes be saying on these other channels because I haven't really been paying attention to them. I just know that like people like Calvin Denzel Roberts, he just reused his argument over and over again. Yeah, Ron is definitely a generic key with a right-wing abo-MAGA political ideology. That's for sure. Robert Lee, bro, you already know. He said, I see they're scared to hit that link. You already know they're not hitting that link, bro. Let alone, they ain't gonna never come over here and deal with the information because I require shit that they can't present. They don't have no evidence. They ain't got to, so we can't look at, we can never look at an author of a book and go through that book and then the bibliography and find the shit that's being argued in support of those motherfucking people. I ain't know nothing about having a debate. What debating on? And Melanated, I don't even know why you watch True Zone channel. He a pseudo. He doing the same shit. He grifting for attention. Not a coincidence, and I already lined him up. And I knew it too. I was like, yo, I don't trust this dude. I don't trust that True Zone dude at all. He trying to get himself in the mix, and he only trying to get in the mix for views so that he can grift out people and make some money. Because he's seen other people doing it, so he trying to do the same shit. So he try to toe that line. Lucky debating Honey Clark on Thursday. I forgot the title of the debate. Yeah, that's a fact. She did say that. Like, yeah, her and Lucky having a debate. That's probably gonna be a little bit It's gonna be an intellectual debate between the two of them because they're taking opposing views on the subject. I was told about that. On debating Sanchez on what? You know, I was informed about Vino going over there on Psycho Channel getting his head split. He's a MAGA patriot FBA instead of standing on being an Albo similar maroon. Speaking of MAGA, how y'all feel about MAGA getting involved in the Iran-Israel beef? Finna run gas prices to the roof. Integration, that's gonna be a good one. Cause listen, I'm gonna keep it real. Lucky and Honey Clark are byproducts of integration. You heard it here first. That's gonna be a good one. Lucky and Honey Clark are byproducts of integration. I said it. Oh boy. Yeah. Everybody keeps saying that Vino was way more prepared. No, he wasn't. Vino put a slideshow together of some shit he could regurgitate. I seen parts of Vino debate. The shit didn't even intellectually, it wasn't even intriguing. There's no way that you're going to convince me that as this slow ass motherfucker was in a debate, a debate setting and was prepared. I heard some of the dumbass shit. As a matter of fact, I left somebody a comment about what I heard when I clicked on the video. Hold on, let me pull it up. You know what I'm saying? Let me find my shit. All right. So I said that N-word is stupid. Though he don't read and he don't comprehend, he cherry picked. You heard it tonight. The quick little rewind he did. He has no methodology. Dude didn't either. So neither one of them really had a methodology. And then I said I was listening to Dude and something like a minute. I was listening to him argue, and then within a minute, I was like, he lacking methodology. You just arguing based on shit. Your chronology is not sounding right. And then had he drew out a timeline and argued historically based on the demonstration, he sounded better. I was talking about Damo. V-Note ain't gonna ever make sense. That says he ain't competent. V-Note is really slow. He ain't lean. So any nigga who think he black Seminole but not African, and his own family say they African is a problem. And then I heard, then there was like, his argument was crap for real, but he presented better and tried to stay on topic. I heard that stupid ass N-word. That N-word said the racist Democrats. Vino said this in the middle of his debate. The racist Democrats. As if the Republicans ain't racist. Both parties have not been very good by us, however. He never showed these racist agendas and fear-mongering. That's in his debate. That's what he didn't do. FYI. Oh, I ain't got to say that part. I can, but I don't care. I don't care to piss people off right now. Okay, Melanator says, Sean, I didn't say it was good. I just said he tried more. With you, you had what he put on his notes. He started the debate rapping. No. Y'all are lying. He started the debate rapping. Hit says the Q&A kill V-Note. I think the title is Did Integration Benefit Black People? Don't quote me on the title. Yeah. Either way it goes. They are byproducts of integration. Yeah, but no. Let me say this. Vino did have. I saw that he did have a presentation. So melanated, I can understand that you're saying he looked a little bit more prepared because he had a presentation. He didn't have the notes like he did me. You're right. From that perspective, he did, but it just looked like he just cherry picked it. Then it says it's on Psycho channel. The debate, V-Note and Damo. Then it says Pure said he rapped like 3 bars. V-Note put celebrities as examples of power in that debate. Yes, exactly. So parts of that I did see because I was skimming through. And I'm like, why is he showing celebrities? I never understood that. V-Note doesn't understand that celebrities do not have power. They don't have real power, bro. Right? They're puppets. Look at Nicki Minaj right now. Look at Nicki Minaj. Trump is using Nicki Minaj as leverage for her fan base to be able to make him seem more relevant and paint a picture for him. Meanwhile, she's trying to get her citizenship so her ass don't get deported. So they both working together for a commonality, and both of them stupid. What you talking about dual streaming? I ain't dual streaming nobody debate. I'll be at work. He also used Chat GPT because he was using words he couldn't even pronounce. He needed to practice, and he was so nervous he was literally stuttering. Nah, that's just how he talk. He got all that spit in his mouth. Or Sean P. The debate I had, Sean P, was that the people's, the Democrats was racist. The Democrats, they was, and we the Black Seminoles, but I'm the Black Seminole, but in this debate I was representing the MAGA because I fuck with Trump. I fought with Trump at the end of the day because you niggas need to learn. You niggas is not like us. We is them real indigenous peoples. Trump fuck with the real niggas. Trump don't fuck with y'all. Sean P is what I'm trying to tell you. That's how he talked. Vino argument wasn't even related to the actual debate, but I do think he was better prepared for what it's worth. Gotcha. Everybody saying the same thing. He looked better prepared because he had a presentation. That's what y'all saying to me. Did what y'all saying to me. Y'all saying because he had a presentation, he looked better prepared. Not that his information was any good, because no one's agreeing with his information. But I also did hear during the question and answer round that he really was humiliated that round, and that swayed one of the judges as well because of the feedback between the two. I heard part of that. But I didn't watch. I'm not going to sit here and critique the whole debate. I didn't watch the whole debate. From listening to some of Damo's round and listening to a little bit of V-Note, I didn't like what I was hearing. I didn't like what I was seeing because I'm not gonna say I'm this best debater or nothing like that, but in a setting, Damo to me is the teacher. He's more knowledgeable about the subject matter than V-Note because I know what V-Note is. V-Note is uneducated. V-Note don't know shit about shit. He just Google himself in the arguments. So I'm expecting the teacher in Damo to teach. So I'm thinking his methodology should be a certain way, and it didn't look like that. Or his research questions should be formulated a particular way, and then it leads to that. And V-Note dumbass should have known better because as many times as information has been presented in front of him on this channel and others, all he had to do was go back and see how a motherfucker put their slides together. And then once he see how a person put their slides together, he can follow that method all the way through and see if he can come to that. But the problem is that he has a fixed belief, and that bias always stays on display because he does bias research. He only looking to support his bias. Vino embarrassed himself in that debate. What debate he didn't? I guess y'all forgot about me and him conversation on this channel where he talking about he 3-0'd somebody. Right? Where we seen that he was unprepared, then he was trying to use his little note apps and all of that old dumbass shit, and then none of it made sense. Yodi and B-Note should debate. They got the same type of shit. Same understanding. V-Note embarrassed himself in that, yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can, nah, I don't want to play psycho shit on my channel. He ain't striking me. He ain't striking this channel. I wanna, show a little bit of, but nah, he ain't striking this channel, bro. Cause he the type of dude that might strike it. Who y'all got beef? The debate was about if America makes it tougher for black people to succeed. Yes, America does make it tough for black people to succeed. America is not about educating and teaching black people economics or advancement in areas for them to succeed. They hold the key to a lot of things. I had a young realtor, a finance guy at closing slipped some out that I never knew about it. And this was going through several transactions before. They know how to manipulate taxes and all of that. They were like, hey, when you go file, you got to do this. You can't show it at this, can't show it at that. Break down your itemization in case they need that. But man, listen, they know the loopholes. Black people that don't have that same knowledge. I would like for more underwriters, finance underwriters, and I don't know if y'all know this or not, but if you're in a car business, real estate, or banking, if we have black people that are underwriters and in those areas, that you'll learn more about how to properly purchase a vehicle or a house and know how to claim certain things during taxes and so on and so forth that'll be so beneficial to you is crazy. But yeah, I got beef. Yeah, I told the league he couldn't get past you at all and how it doesn't have the integrity to accept defeat. No, he doesn't. He probably still running around talking about he 3-0 Damo. Vino probably thinks that he is, that guy. But that goes back to my point that I was making with somebody else. Because if Psycho Nim was fucking with the channel, they would have already known what Vino really was. Or fucking with Not a Coincidence. They would know what the channel was, you feel me? But I think I don't want to put too much on any of that. Hell, I even had to join the stream to let it be known Mossy and the research team are official. Just don't run a debate league, but methodology, research, and ability to debate, it don't get any more official. Yeah. Damn, you had to go up and tell them that? Yeah, I don't think Psycho know much about the Masi. I know about Psycho. Shit, I used to share videos. Them old videos when he was talking shit. When they got a debate coming up, yeah, two debates. Vino position was America doesn't. Well, America, hold on, time out. How can Vino take the position that America doesn't give black people an opportunity to succeed? Because it's, okay, if he MAGA, right? And he MAGA, he a Trump supporter. He got to feel like America does give black people an opportunity to succeed. The opportunity to succeed is a crab in a barrel mentality, because you got to have opportunity. That opportunity comes in via sports and entertainment. It's very rare that you have Wall Street stories, right? Successful black men on Wall Street, right? You don't have that type of power or influence from black people on like that, or these moguls, right? These business moguls. See, to us, and not to just throw this name out there, but Diddy as an example, right? Oprah as an example, right? Jay-Z as an example, right? Where did the bulk of their wealth come from? Those 1% black people. Where did the bulk of their wealth come from? Entertainment. Some form of entertainment, later investments, and some of that you might have learned in the middle of that because you're rubbing you're in the right rooms and you're rubbing elbows with the right people. If you're not in those rooms, yours is a grind. Like, for instance, T.I. is rich. We ain't on T.I. level, but T.I. is rich. But compared to some of his peers, like a Jay-Z and others, he's not as wealthy as Jay-Z is, but he's rich. His broke ain't our broke. Put it to you like that. His broke ain't our broke. Where we're spending $100, he might be spending $1,000. And it's seen totally different, or $10,000. And it's seen totally different. But, I mean, yeah. I said if you had a chronology, you could argue it based on what I heard from the debate. If you take a timeline, right? You take a timeline and you establish the timeline, and then you walk through history in the timeline, you're either going to show or not show the evidence to support or not support the argument. So what I'm saying is if Vino was MAGA, if Vino is MAGA, then he's got to show us more than the 1% of black people that's wealthy in America. What is considered wealth? Black people don't have generational wealth. When we die, what do our kids inherit? My dad, now remember, my dad died when I was 9. I ain't get shit. I got some Social Security. There was no land. There was no house. That's it. A lot of times when our parents die, we collect debt because we're trying to bury them. Yeah, with him using celebrity, I told you I didn't watch the debate, so him using celebrities was stupid. That's wrong. That the success of that is every celebrity ain't rich. You can be a celebrity and be broke. Tyler Perry was doing plays before he was doing his own movies. Tyler Perry got backed by Oprah. When Tyler Perry got backed by Oprah and some business things transpired, he was able to accumulate wealth because he didn't need to invest in all the other things he was already doing. So then when he started doing more of those tours and shows that he was doing with those plays, his price went up. And as his price went up, the things that he was accumulating over time gave him the ability to be able to do that. Oprah wrote him a blank check. He was able to cash in on a blank check, paid her right back her money from that, and capitalized from that point forward. Not only just Oprah, other investors who also saw his dream and his success and allowed him to thrive. That's rare. Those are small instances. That's not every black person. Out of 44 million black people, you got 1,000 rich niggas. Come on. And when I mean rich, I mean rich. Because you only got about 10. How many black billionaires in America? Oh, there are 13 black billionaires in the United States today. Conversation over. Out of 44 million black people in America, 13 are billionaires. Only 13 billion? $13. So let's change the B to an M, because we know we ain't got no trillionaires. Today, there are 35,000 black millionaires in the U.S. I believe that's a different argument. That don't make sense to me. So hold on. America has seen new black millionaires in the last 5 years and in the prior decade since 2020. The amount of African-American millionaires has grown 5 times from 260 to around 1.7 million. And that's an Instagram post on February 8th of 2025. There's 13 to 15 black billionaires. .4% of our 44 million are millionaires. That comes from the financesamurai.com. Someone's still saying, but I do believe that if there's 1.7 million black millionaires, yeah, that's rare. There's some 100,000aires, but millionaires is different. We're all fighting an uphill battle. And as of lately is how we accumulated a lot of that wealth, is as of lately. The pandemic allowed a lot. Robert Smith is the most wealthiest guy. Jay-Z is third. David Stewart is second. Oprah is fourth. Her and Jay-Z are tied. Jordan is behind Oprah. LeBron is on the list with $1 billion. Tyler on the list with $1 billion. Tiger 1.1. Alex Karp is on the list. Those are 9 of the 15. billionaires. That's crazy work. It says that the millionaire status is on the rise, but it's not a lot. I tell you, I wish I had a couple million. They said in America, the wealthiest in America is Asian Americans. They have the highest median household income in the U.S. Y'all want to know why? Asian Americans not playing. The lowest median household income is blacks and Hispanics. The percentage of black Americans earning over 100,000 varies by source and whether it's individual or household income, but generally falls in between 25 to 30% range for households and a lower figure for individuals, with some estimates showing around 6 to 8% of black adults earning 6 figures or more. I made 6 figures last year. To be exact, I made 103,000. Maybe a little more than that. I ain't got shit to show for it. In summary, while a notable segment of black Americans earn over 100,000, particularly those with advanced education or higher earning households, they remain unrepresented in the income brackets. $1.79 million black people, millionaires. You know what city has the most black millionaires? Atlanta. Atlanta has the most black millionaires. And that's exactly correct. Owning banks is not the same as dictating the laws of banking. That's a fact. It's still not about money. The debate was, does America make it difficult for blacks to hold positions of power? And the answer to that is yes. They definitely do make people hold yes. The answer is yes. So whoever said that they don't is wrong. So that would be Vino. The answer is yes. Having money in the bank, okay. And owning a bank is not the same as dictating the laws of banking. That's correct. Look up the median income of blacks in cities like Boston, etc. So again, it's not about the ability to make a dollar. It's about the difficulty of ease to gain access to the power here. That's correct. You say look up the median income of blacks in cities like Boston. Shit, that's gonna hurt my feelings. Well, mom finna hurt my feelings. Cause Boston, the cost of living high in the motherfucking Boston. Black or African American households have a median income of approximately $58,628. You can't live in there unless you got a household. Listen, this is the disparity. A 2023 study that was produced across Metro Boston showed white households had a median income of $128,000. Black households had a median of $58,000. Gosh, almost 3 times the amount of black households. It's crazy. Three times? Yeah, it's a family. It ain't an individual at all. It's a family. It said family. The study said black households. It says, what is the average income of a black family in Boston? 2023 study found that across the metro Boston area, white households had a median income of 128,000. Blacks had a household median at 58. Bro, that's crazy. Almost 3 times, bro. Look at man, the only reason I'm lying, and I don't even know if you can hear this, bro. You probably ain't even thinking about doing no show today. This might be for tomorrow. But I only did it because I ain't see you hit that button. As soon as you hit that button, I was in it, bro. This is crazy. Hold on, I'm gonna put on the screen. This is an AI overview. Come on, I don't even know why you said it. It's like it is. What though? I'm gonna just change the state. I mean the city. Look, there you go right there. 58 to 128 is crazy work. $58 to $128 was the number. Nashville metropolitan area has the 31st largest black population in the United States. Median household is 49. Let's look at it. I thought it was more. Niggas ain't getting paid, bro. Niggas ain't getting paid, bro. The median household in black, look, 283,000 black people. The median household income is $49,294. Poverty rate 15% for a family, 7% in total metro, 63 in total metro. So surrounding Nashville, 63. What they know how to do is, let's see let's see how it go. Why they won't just give me the real business, bro? I hate when they do this. I knew it was gonna take me here. They do it every time. Hey, the white people get money though, bro. They always been $100,000 household medians. White people compared to black people. That's everywhere. That's crazy work. That's crazy work, man. Yeah, 6 figures legally is crazy, bro. But I did it. I tell you that. I tell you, I did it. It's a fucking grind too. And it ain't finna be 6 figures this year because 50 figured out a way to hustle, finagle a motherfucker about it, finesse him about his bread. I'm gonna try my best though to do it again, but I did it with not working overtime and all that. Yeah, in short, black people are making far less money than white people. White people making $60,000 per spouse, and black people making $20,000 to $30,000 per spouse. And then they turning around and they got other shit that they can maneuver in and make them benefit from all of that other shit. And ain't no telling what they inherited. So if they inherited some land, houses, or anything from their parents, shit, they already set straight. So I don't even know why Vino Vino went to jail. Vino was locked up. This nigga know ain't no opportunity. Why would he take that debate? That's just willful ignorance. But look, man, I'm about to get out of here, man. This boy Ramon and messed my whole head up with this. Now I done got mad. I gotta go figure something out. I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Make sure you like the show, share the show, tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? Where you get that real information at, man. Appreciate everybody being a part of the journey. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They wouldn't be vaguely saying they from Africa, bro. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you. Bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whip in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Karimio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Caught an apple slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing's staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.